Mike Meikleham, Instagram @chuddy2ds3ys. I'm the head of design at Creo Studios, Instagram @Creo Studios official. Me and Ash, who's like the creative director / MD of the brand, we were working on a brand and we literally had everything ready for the launch, and it got to about 4 months deep and we couldn't apply, or we did apply, we couldn't get the trademark granted, basically because it clashed with another brand. So 4 months of work went down the grid, and then we were literally in a panic because we knew that we had to get an October launch date in place, because then you've only got a month till Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and you've only got 3 weeks until Christmas after that, and then it's January sales, so it's such a negative time to launch. So we wanted to make sure that we could plan and forecast a drop that would land in the middle to end of October. So we just did a couple all-nighters, brainstorming brand names, what it could be, and eventually we came up with Creo Studios. Where the brand name came from is we wanted it to centre around British heritage, and obviously one of the most popular languages spoken in Britain in Middle English was Latin in the 14th century. So Creo is the Latin word for to create or to make, and obviously our working environment is a design studio, so Creo Studios is pretty much just what we're about, really. It's like a creative studio that we're working in every day. We're obsessed with creating. It entails British heritage. So we then took the name Creo and turned it into an acronym. So the CREO turned into Creativity Rejects Every Obstacle. Well, for starters, we launched on the 26th of October, so in just under a couple of weeks now, we'll be launching. So we've got, keep an eye out from a lot of billboards across the northwest in Manchester and Liverpool. If you see it, put it on your Instagram, DM us, and we'll sort you out with a discount code. They're going to be everywhere, so just try and keep an eye out for them as much as you can. We've got a launch party middle to the end of November, just before Black Friday. It's going to be at Menagerie, so make sure you keep an eye out for the promotions of that. We're going to have a nice little Black Friday deal and Cyber Monday deal, and then we've got a lot of new drops coming into the Christmas period, and then in January there's just going to be a lot of promo for the February launch, which is when we're going to drop our SS19 collection. For SS19 we're going to do like a space orientated capsule, so it's going to draw on not necessarily like geeky things like astronauts and planets, etc., but the whole concept of having a outer space capsule was the fact that the universe doesn't have any boundaries or walls or dimensions. There is just no end to it, and that represents our brand morals and our brand ethos in the fact that creativity is endless, like there are no limits in design. So doing a space collection was just to give true transparency to how creative we actually can be as a brand. So the price point one's a difficult thing that we're still battling with now, and we're 3 weeks out from the launch date. You obviously look at your competitors or so-called competitors on where you envisage yourself in the market, look at their price points and then compare quality of product. That's pretty much how every brand does it, but then they're brands that have been in the game for 5 to 10 years, so it's like they've already grown to that price point. We're starting out, so it's like, do you pitch yourself high, do you pitch yourself low? You never want to shoot yourself in the foot, but we have a target brand that we want to not replicate, but we believe that our quality of garment is on par with theirs, and we're just going to stick with it now and see how it goes. But our denim's going to be between 85 and 105 pound. We've got Italian imports and everything's custom, and we've cut the pattern ourselves, developed the fabric ourselves, done the rips, the tailoring, the tapering, the whiskering, the buttons, the debosses, the rivets, the belt loops, like the pocket lining, like everything you can imagine we've done. So it's not just like we're buying something stock from Turkey and shipping it with our logo on. It's like a ridiculous amount of thought and time has been put into it. But when it gets onto the outerwear, we're obviously going to want to pitch it a bit higher. We've gone for like down-filled coats, fur-lined coats, fleece-lined jackets, waterproof, windproof, water-resistant. So the price points are just going to reflect the quality of product in essence. So I'm looking forward to you all seeing it, but make sure you give us as much feedback as possible, because we want to change them for the benefit of the consumer. We're going to put them first at all times. If Creō Studios could have one collaboration, who would it be with? To be honest, it can't not be with Virgil. Whichever brand he wants to do it with, if it's Louis Vuitton or Off-White, either way I'm all is. But I don't really like to name collaborations as that, because it kind of denotes the whole creative processes. X brand collaborates with Y brand, and it's like you have your ideas, you have theirs, you put your logo there, we put our logo here. It's just not how like I would envisage a collaboration. So at Creo Studios, what we like to call it is a co-creative process. And basically it's just you both get in a room and you start from the ground up, and there are no rules. And that goes back to what we were saying about wanting to do a space collection. It's just, there is no limits, there are no dimensions. So when two brands get together, they're like, oh, we don't design like that. Oh, and that's not in our brand value. Look, if you're a creative brand, you can collaborate with us. You know, we're going to look for collaborations in the near future, and you'll see the brands that we pick represent our brand morals. But it's not just a collab, it's a co-creative process, and the designs will reflect that. But what Virgil Abloh is doing with Off-White and what he's done at Louis Vuitton is a joke. So obviously I'd pick him, but a more realistic collaboration, obviously you're seeing those that it'd want to be Puma. I have a couple of friends at New Balance who are getting hit up once they see this interview. And then the three designers that I take the most inspiration from is Hussein Seliman, Jefferson Osi and Abderrahman Trabzini. They're the three co-founders at Daily Paper, Dutch fashion brand, and some of the work they're doing over at the minute in Amsterdam is a joke. So I'd want to take a meeting with them actually. So if you boys are seeing this, make sure you hit me up. But yeah, Virgil and Daily Paper, they're the collabs that we'd want to do. But realistically, anyone who's a fellow creative, get in touch if you have anything you want to talk about in this co-creation process. But yeah, definitely Puma, Virgil, New Balance, Daily Paper, they're the collabs.